So let's talk about the dirty side of running a CNC plasma table. You gotta clean it out. Here's the process. Whenever we go to do a clean out, we also replace all the slats at the same time. Because this water table is added to the table after the fact, it's only 1 inch deep, which means the slats are 1 inch by 1/8 inch flat water. They bow pretty quickly. This is kind of a compromise we had to make. So we're gonna let all the water drain out of the table. It's draining over to a spot where we let it all evaporate, and then everything that's left behind, which would have been the dust in a blow-through table or what would have been extracted in a downdraft table, we're just gonna throw right in the scrap bin because my scrap yard will take it. This table holds 55 gallons of water when it's empty. Once it's got as many BBs built up in it, it's probably closer to 40. So we'll just let that drain. To speed up the draining, we're gonna use the forklift to just pick the front of the table up by like 1 inch or 2, not much, or else we get a wave. It'll splash out of the table and make a big mess. So as all the water drains out, we can see that what we're left with are all of these BBs, little pieces that dropped out, counters from letters, whatever. And for the most part, it's all scrap. Every once in a while, you find something that's part of a kit or something that can be used, but the rest of it, it's all scrap. We are gonna rake all this to the front of the table, throw it in this big barrel right here, which is getting away a couple tons. So now it's just dirty manual work. Now normally we'd use a tool to do this scraping out, but for the life of us, we just could not find it. We have a garden shovel type of thing. It's a square edge, kind of like a pickaxe. Does great for scraping these little BBs off. They're not really stuck down very hard, but they are stuck. You do need a little bit of force to get them free. It's a pretty simple process. You know, it takes us about 10 minutes to clean out the whole table, and then probably another 5 to scoop everything up and clean it up the rest of the way. So once we've scooped out the majority of the BBs and drops and all the other crap that's inside the table, I like to get up and sweep the whole thing out. That's just gonna let us get that last, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds of crap that's in here, and gives us a good look at the bottom of the table, check for any rust. We haven't had any. Then we'll clean the longitudinal. Then we're gonna clean up the longitudinal rails, which are the ones that run this way or down the mother. Then we're going to clean up the longitudinal rails, which are the ones that run this way or down the y-axis in Mach 3. We'll just gently hit them with a sledgehammer and or use the nail puller in a crowbar to knock off any of the BBs that have stuck to them. Move on. Normally this is the point where we cut all new slats that go this way and install them on the table, but we're actually going to remove the table, take it outside, clean it out, give it an inspection. It's been just over 2 years since we built this, so I figured, why not? Yeah, so back in the day, this is what the plasma table used to look like. If you've been following along since probably February of 2018, we built that. So, yeah. And the table's still fine. The attachments, we've actually got over there in that corner, the replacement slat holders. I don't know what to call them. In case we ever want to put them back on and get rid of the water table. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's been 2 years since we've had this off. Table looks fine. This thing looks like it's in great shape. So we're gonna take the time to clean all the rails, all the everything on the table now that it's clear, and then do the same to the water table. It's just maintenance. Why not do it while the world's going crazy? know somebody out there is going to be worrying about us washing all this crap out. Two things. One, whenever we cut aluminum or stainless, we clean the water, we change the water over in the table, and in 2.5 years I haven't cut any aluminum, and I've cut about a half a sheet of 24 gauge stainless. So cutting mild steel, you know, what's in this water that's not iron, right? Second off, this entire parking lot's a bowl, which is why we do a lot of our washout sort of stuff here. The water's gonna stop right there where it is. And you can see that because all this sand and crap builds up here. And we have to somewhat regularly come out here and just sweep and blow off and power wash the parking lot. So we're not dumping this water into an environment where it's gonna go, you can see here, it doesn't even go into the neighbor's place, which is about to get knocked down. It's gonna berm all the way along here. It's good, all right. So while I appreciate people being worried, keep your worries to yourself. Worry about them at your place. So you can see we've got really no big issues with the table. I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking. It's all pretty clean. We got one little hole down there. We got a patch that we've just kind of had dealt with for a while. Part of the impetus for pulling this off the table to do this full clean out was I got sloppy. We were cutting some roses out and I let it run off the end of the sheet because I was using a partial sheet. And so I've got some patchwork to do right here, but not the end of the world. We'll get it taken care of. This is the third time in 26 months that we've done that. There's one somewhere up here somewhere and one in the middle. We just patch them, grind it smooth. Hasn't been an issue. You know, it's the cost of having a table that's been modified from its original purpose. But as you can see, a little bit of flash rust right here while we've had it off. This is the very end of the table where nothing ever gets cut. You can kind of see a very defined line right here. That's as far back as the torch can go. So I'm going to be using the HTP Pro Pulse 220 MTS. Got it set up at basically the settings for 16 gauge. It's 270 inches a minute running 18.2 volts. And we're going to do this in a bunch of passes just to not put any more heat in than we have to. Alright, so I'm going to totally let this cool back down to its natural temperature naturally. Weld it about half of what was there. I'll come back in, do the other half. Hopefully it'll be good. So in order to check as best as we can without putting water in it, I'm going to put a light underneath here. It looks good, so now we're going to grind that out. One pinhole. Nope, no light. All right, let's water test it. God damn it. It's coming out good. Oh. Oh. So I flipped the whole thing over so that I could get a look at the welds from the bottom, because when we water tested it, there was one spot, it was just barely leaking. And that's a really good thing we did, because I found another spot over here that had a pierce in it. No idea how that got there. It's not anywhere near where it was cutting. Maybe it happened in the past and it just got plugged up with all the schmoo at the bottom of the table. I don't know, but glad I found it. Hey. Lift the forks up about 2 or 3 inches. Girl Tommy goes out with must be real happy if that's 2 or 3 inches. What we're up against is down there, the drain nipple has to clear the crossbar at the back of the table. It's done that. This whole thing only weighs like probably 150, maybe 200 pounds. So you want to go on that side. Well, right here. But while it's still off the end of the table, you can lift it off and get the bit out.
Unfortunately, the closest source of water in the building is 250 feet away from the plasma tables. We've got a bunch of hoses run out. We'll fill her back up. Like I said, hold 55 gallons. In the summer, just sitting there, I lose about 5 gallons a day. Cutting, we can lose up to 30 gallons a day. Sometimes we are refilling that table quite a bit. We generally just haul buckets though. Tommy's going to cut some new slats, and then we're going to put those in the table, dropping them in. They're, 4.5, almost 5 feet long. You get 4 of them out of a stick of steel that costs $12 or $13. It takes 16 to redo the table, so it's not that big of a deal. It's, what's that, 40 bucks, 50 bucks in slats every time we've got to do this, and we do this, 4 or 5, maybe 6 times a year, depending on how much we're cutting. So it's a consumable, but it's not the end of the world, and compromises have to be made when you're modifying a table.
Here's the breakdown on how the table works. These slats are the replaceables. These ones are welded to the base. We cut all these notches in when I first built it, and the idea was, these would drop in. And then when I put it together, I didn't line the notches up perfectly. Some of them are real dead on and some of them aren't. And initially we thought that was gonna be a problem, but what it's turned out to be is the friction kind of helps that stay in place, helps the slats stay in place. It works out pretty well. Then in order to prevent the water from rusting out the table, we just add borax. I'm not married to that as a solution, but it's worked for me and it's cheap. If any of you guys have something you like more, let me know down in the comments. If you're a manufacturer of an additive, I'd be more than happy to guinea pig it and let people know my thoughts. And just like that, guys, we are back to cutting, knocking out some of the weld it yourself kits. If you guys want to check one of those out, we got a link here. You want to stick around, catch some more of this sort of stuff in the future, hit subscribe. If you want a little bit more of the behind the scenes, we got Patreon there. Until next time, thanks for stopping by.